Hi everyone. It's definitely been a minute since I filmed a video. There's lots of life updates and things that I could tell you, but I'm just gonna wait for another video because this is gonna be strictly about infertility. I posted on my Instagram and my Snapchat about if you guys had any questions or wanted to kind of know a little bit about what me and Will are going through as far as infertility, and we got tons of responses back. I was actually really surprised. And everybody was kind of interested and left a couple questions. So I decided that I'm just going to go ahead and kind of explain what's going on. And then I'm going to have further videos to come about different procedures that we've had done and different steps that we're taking to conceive. But I guess I just want to say it's definitely been a minute since I filmed, so I'm a little awkward. And Will's not with me today. I'm actually doing this by myself. So I guess I'm just going to start with how I found out and kind of baseline, and then I'll answer some questions that we got. So as for us, infertility was never really a question of ours. We weren't thinking about children at the time. We really didn't have any concern as far as, getting pregnant or not. So we got engaged in December of 2020, and right after that, I got off birth control. I got off birth control because it was just kind of making me really sad, and I can make a whole nother video about the effects that I had on birth control and why I got off of it if y'all want to know. I was on birth control for about 5 years. It was a really long time. So getting off of it was a big decision that I obviously had to speak with Will about before. We went ahead and we made the decision to get off of birth control. So we did that, and then everything was going fine. I didn't have any issues. Sorry, one second. Okay, much better. So where was I? So we made the decision to get off birth control in December, and it wasn't hard at all. I didn't actually go to the doctor to get off of it. I just stopped taking it. I was on the pill, for example, if people were wondering. And I just kind of stopped taking it, and everything stayed normal. My periods and everything were super normal. Nothing really bad happened. I didn't notice any difference, honestly, the first month or so. And then month 2 and 3 hit, and then wow. I definitely felt a big difference as far as my mental health and just the way my body was just in general. So I was actually super happy with being off of it. I was super okay with just everything and life in general. Obviously when we got off birth control, there was a chance for babies and everything, and we just kind of made the decision that if we were to get pregnant, we'll do what we have to do. If we were to get pregnant, we will do what we got to do, and that's a blessing, and it's God's timing, and we're okay with that. But we weren't actively trying for a baby. We were doing things to prevent. So a year goes by or so, in last August, so this August that we just had, I had my normal yearly checkup with my doctor, and I just let her know that I was off birth control. And she said, I told her when I stopped, and she was like, okay, will you stop? She was like, okay, it just kind of did concern her that I was off for such a long period of time, and I guess nothing happened. She was like, you were off for a good amount of time. But, okay, basically she was just like, you should have been pregnant by now. You're not on any birth control, and it's just not normal for girls, especially young girls, to just get pregnant. She basically was kind of telling me, I'm surprised you're not pregnant right now. It kind of was insulting, but I was like, no, everything's fine. We're just not getting pregnant. I don't know. And then I told her, she was kind of pushing me actually to get back on the pill, and I was like, no, I'm not getting back on the pill. Me and my fiance work full time. We bought a house together. We're getting married in December. We know, we are able to support a kid if we need to support a kid, but I don't want to get back on the pill. For my mental health reasons, I was like, absolutely not. I'm not getting back on the pill. So then she was like, okay, well then we need to kind of figure out why you didn't get pregnant. And I didn't think it was that big of a deal. I was just like, I don't know, maybe I'm lucky. So she put in a request for some exams for me, and then we got to talking about like me and Will's history together, and like his history and my history. And I told her some of the things that may have a little bit of concern to me on Will's half of things, as to why we possibly, you know, never got pregnant within that couple of months or whatever. And when I told her, and I'm not going to share because Will's not with me today and I don't want to put his information out there without asking him, but when I told her what I possibly thought it could be, she instantly was like, oh my gosh, like that's not good at all. We need to go have testing ASAP. So she put in a referral to send us to a doctor up in St. Louis called Dr. Goldenberg. And Dr. Goldenberg, I called and obviously made the appointment, and he was super booked out until October, and I went in August. So I was like, okay, well, we can't wait that long, because at this point I'm really concerned. So I kind of put things like really quickly. Like I was like, no, I want to figure out right now what the issue is. So we got into a different doctor, and we went to the doctor, and Will took a couple tests, and we got his diagnosis, and we got told that Will had a super low sperm count, like 12 million, and you're supposed to be like 15 million and up, and 12 million is considered super low. And so obviously that was like a big, wide open, like eye opener for me and Will. We were like, oh my gosh, like this whole time we just kind of didn't think anything of it, and now we're getting told that he's got a low sperm count, and you know, what do we do? What do we do at this situation? Because, you know, we are still young, and it was just like a lot to take in at one time. And we also found this out right before we're getting married. So obviously that raises some conversations that you never thought you'd possibly be having. Will also got diagnosed with something else, but like I said, I'm not gonna spill his tea right now because he's not here. But so after that, the doctor that we went to for Will, he instantly referred us to a OBGYN infertility specialist here in St. Louis. His name is Dr. Michael Tamir, for me. So we had to wait a little while. We got in to see Dr. Tamir, and he asked us so many questions that, like I said, you never think about until they're being asked. So we got asked so many questions, and it was just like, wow. But love him. If y'all ever have to go to an infertility specialist, I definitely highly recommend Dr. Tamir. He's so comfortable, and he's just so easy to talk to, and he really understands. And he basically told us, because we told him about Will's testing and his results, and he was like, he had some like questions, you know. So he's like, I want to do a second round of testing. I want to make sure 110% before we move forward, because the last doctor who told us that Will's count was super low, he actually wanted us to have surgery in October. And so we had the appointment ready, like we were having surgery in October, you know, because we're like, okay, if we got to have surgery, this is what we're going to do to be able to have kids in the future. So my doctor, Michael Tamir, was like, absolutely not. We need to have a second opinion. And thankfully we did. So after a couple months go by, because you have to wait a certain amount of time before you can just retest. So they put Will on medication, on Clomid. If y'all didn't know what that is, it just helps your count. It boosts your sperm count. So Will got put on Clomid for 2 months, and we had to wait 2 months because that's when your semen basically reproduces itself. Like the whole entire, like, I don't know, it's so crazy. So basically, like, after 2 months, everything redoes itself. I don't know, it's kind of confusing. So if he were to take a test, like a semen analysis again, it would be inaccurate because he didn't give his body enough time to produce new sperm, I guess. So we had to wait 2 months, and obviously that was like the longest 2 months of our lives because we were so just like, obviously we were upset. We had a lot of conversations that we had to talk about, and it was just like really bad news to hear. So Will was taking his Clomid like normal, and he went in for his second testing, and he took his testing, and Dr. Michael Tamir called me back, like, honestly, the next day, I believe. And he was like, is this Kylie? And I was like, yes. And He was like, I don't know what happened, but it's a miracle. Will's count has absolutely tripled. And I was like, wow, like that is literally by the grace of God. Wow. So I was so happy. I was like, oh my God, I can't wait to tell Will, you know? So I was like, okay, bye. And then I get off the phone and I call Will and I tell him, I'm like, your count tripled. Like, it's a miracle. We don't know. I mean, because Clomid helps, but the doctor kind of told us it's not going to, like, make everything triple, you know? So, but I do want to state that once we found out originally that Will's count was low, we started actively trying for a baby. So, we were actively trying for quite some time. And then, sorry, I'm trying to, like, think of everything. So we were actively trying once we found out that we may possibly not be able to have kids, as easy. So when he got told that his count tripled, it was like, holy cow, we're going to get pregnant. You know what I mean? So another month goes by because, like I said, everything takes so long. And it's just, it's a long, dreadful process. So we're doing everything like normal, and I'm still not getting pregnant. So at this point, I guess we are trying to have a baby. Nothing is happening. I'm not getting pregnant. The doctor kind of told us at that time, like, you're never going to get pregnant naturally if, you know, his count is so low, because basically his sperm dies off in the uterus anyway, so you're not getting enough to produce a baby. It was so crazy. Like, we got told so many facts that I just didn't even know existed, that my mind was just blown, honestly. And I was like, okay, what do we got to do to have a baby, basically? So after Will came back that his testing was perfect, basically, and we still weren't getting pregnant, obviously that points fingers to me. So it's like, okay, now what's the problem, you know? Because you're still not getting pregnant, so what's the issue? So everything came to me, and let me tell you, I was not prepared to feel that type of, like, stress, because I'm just like, oh my gosh, what if I can't have children, you know, right before we're getting married? What if I can't have babies, you know, and create a family for him? And I know that's what he wants. And it was just, it's a lot to deal with, and just be thankful if you can have kids so easy. So obviously Will was super supportive and was like, absolutely not. We're not breaking up over this. Like, we will figure it out. We will have kids one way or another. He was very, very positive, and I was too. It's scary. So that takes some time. So then you have to wait. You can't just go in for testing again. Like, for Will, it's kind of same for me. So I had to get what was done called, it's kind of like an HSG, which is like a homocystogram or a holocystogram or something like that. But instead of using dye, they used bubble saline. So it was like a sonogram plus I don't know, it's like a weird procedure. I'll make a whole nother video about the procedure, how it was and the results, and just basically explaining everything, because if you look on YouTube, there's so many videos about an HSG, which is using the dye, but there's like little to none about using the bubble saline, because it's a newer procedure. So I'll make a whole video about that. But basically, you can't get this test done anytime throughout the month. It has to be between day 5 and 10 of your cycle. So I had to wait a whole month, get through a whole nother period, and then call in to be able to get this testing. So if you didn't know, this testing shows the openings of your fallopian tubes and basically just everything inside you, make sure everything's all good to go. So I do want to say, because I think I forgot to say this, originally my original doctor was like before, like my birth control doctor was in Alton. Her name was Dr. Durham. I don't know if y'all know her. She did a little test on me, and she told me she thought I may have endometriosis. So that was another thing that kind of like struck my attention. So this testing would show if I had endometriosis or anything like that. So I had to wait so long, and then I finally got the test, and oh my gosh, like I said, that's a whole other video. But we got the test, and the results came back super good, honestly. So thankfully, everything came back so good. And everything was fine. So they diagnosed me and Will and I, They diagnosed Will and I with unexplained infertility. If y'all didn't know, that means that both parties are super healthy and there's absolutely nothing that should be causing them not to get pregnant. But the chances of getting pregnant are little. Why? It's unexplained. You don't know. It's basically like you're just a couple who's trying to have kids and it's just not working out. That's kind of what our doctor said to us. So the chances of us getting pregnant, I guess, naturally are very, very slim. And it's like a miracle, I guess. So it's just kind of all up to God at this point, God's timing. That's what me and Will keep saying, you know, it's completely up to God. And I honestly think the stress of everything, as far as like us figuring out if we could even have kids, you know, if his count was low still, if my tubes were open, caused a lot of stress on us, and that can affect getting pregnant. So we got to think about that too, you know. So now that we found out that everything is good to go, maybe we can, you know, have kids. I don't know. It's just crazy. But that's kind of our infertility story. I know a lot of people are asking, so that's just kind of how everything got started. It's like a crazy whirlwind, and it's so draining. Like, infertility is so draining, and I feel so bad for anyone who's had to go through it, because it really does suck. I mean, it sucks. And we were so young. I mean, we're 20, you know, Will's about to be 21, and it's just like, we're still pretty young, you know, but I'm glad we figured it out young, and I'm glad we went through it young, and we're not like 25, 26 trying to get it all figured out, because, you know, then it would be really difficult. And my doctor was so great. You know, he was like, I know you guys are young, but you're doing the right thing. You've got your, you know, both feet on the ground, and you're figuring it out, and that's what's important, because, you know, there is a lot of stigmatisms. I'm thinking of glasses. There's a lot of like stigmas about like, you know, teenage pregnancy, which I know I'm not a teenager, but it's so crazy that we're going through it, honestly. But so now I'm just going to answer some questions that y'all left me, now that I kind of explained our infertility journey, just like the beginning of it. And I'm just going to answer some questions. So a lot of the questions I got asked were, are you trying for a baby? Oh my gosh, are you having a baby? Like, please have a baby. And then, how did you find out about infertility? So I already explained that. What are you doing to get pregnant? And I'll explain that too. So I guess that we can say, yes, we are trying to have a baby at this point. I would be so happy if I got a positive pregnancy test. And I know Will would be so happy too. So we are actively trying to have a baby. It's so weird to say, but I think we're ready for it. I mean, no time is perfect ever, and we are pretty aware that it is God's timing. So whatever he thinks is a good time for me to be pregnant, I'll be pregnant. So I'm just kind of waiting around, you know. Will and I are getting married December of this year. So December 18th, in like 35 days, we're getting married. So it would be so crazy if I got pregnant before then. That would just be so crazy. I would love that though. But anyway, yes, so we are actively trying to have a baby, and I kind of explained everything as far as infertility and how we got going. And I know there's questions that I'm totally forgetting. How are you going to have a baby? So because we're struggling with infertility, we are going to have to do things a little different than what other people do. And we have to do, starting out, something called IUI. If you didn't know what that is, it's intrauterine insemination. So basically, it's another procedure to have kids. And I'll do a whole video on that. I'll record the day that we go in for our testing and everything leading up to it. This video, I just wanted to keep strictly to the beginning of how we found out we are going to have a little infertility journey, and how we're handling it and where our minds are at, basically. So I hope y'all enjoyed, and your questions got answered, and just say a little prayer for Will and I, because infertility is just a long struggle that nobody should have to go through. But we're making it work. We're working together, you know, and we're so positive, and I think that really helps. But yeah, so it's definitely been a minute since I filmed a YouTube video. So I think I'm going to film a video about a life update if y'all want to know, because everything is so different. Like I said, we bought a house. We're about to be married. We've got way more pets now, and it's just so crazy. Life is so much different now. So if y'all want to have a little bit of a life update, maybe I'll do that too. But yeah, so that was our infertility journey. We're still on it. It's a long journey, but you know, one day I'm going to post a video of us being pregnant, so just wait. But thank you guys so much for watching, and hopefully next video Will can be here. He's hanging out with his friends right now. So I was like, okay, I guess I'll just film this because he wouldn't know what to explain anyway. It's a lot. But thank you guys for watching. Thank you for asking me questions, because it was like, oh, they actually care, you know. But yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and film a video about the procedure that I had done and the IUI and everything about that if y'all want to see. So drop a comment and let me know. But thank you guys so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. And I think that's it. Bye.